Hi friends, today I'm going to discuss about DPR Act, that is Digital Privacy Right Act. Have you ever wondered when you click on consent on any website or any application, where that is, how that consent form goes to and where it is going to and how the data is getting stored? Today we are going to discuss on that. So this is the DPDP Act 2023. This is very much required to understand. Um, it's a pillar as like a right to information act. This is the one of the fundamental right. So how the law is applicable to this? When this existing, when why it is came to the um, in the legality. So if you wanted to protect your rights, and if any child is clicking on the consent form and creating their own Gmail accounts or something, then where how the data goes to, and is it storing? So, so if it is storing, then how to erase the data, and what kind of actions to be taken that has come under this picture? See, to give individual more control over their personal data and create accountability for organizations that process it. You are the controller. You are sharing your data. That means you should have the potential to erase it, and you should has to have to revoke the data. If so, if you click on any kind of websites or any apps, if you're deleting your personal data from that, then you have the right to delete the data. That is, we will call revoke the data. Here, the data principle, data is principle is you are giving the data, so that is called then you are calling as a data principle. The data fiduciary, like um, you are registering yourself on the Swiggy, and then the data uh, that is going to the third party like AWS, that we used to store the data in that, and Azure, and GCP, Google Cloud Platform, like that. These are the third party people. And then when you are storing the in the bank, so whereas coming into the bank, then the bank is not keeping your data, but the cloud providers are on-premises servers that is having the data. On-premises mean, but in nowadays companies are using cloud servers. That's a secondary, but they have to have a consent form with you. See, why this is matter means it builds trust, reduces risk, ensures responsible innovation. It means you are, if any fraud is happening, then it is not a valid application or else valid website also. It might be, it means that is the fraudulent action is taking place there. So you should have the minimum understanding of the consents. And moreover, the consent form should not club with terms and conditions. If you see any terms of conditions near the consent form, you please raise a request to that company or on the chat support, or else directly you can put a case. So why DPDP matters to the product managers? When we are actually, I'm a product manager, so I'm giving a clear picture on how the daily life scenario of mine. So um, we used to create different kinds of websites. Like if the children are interested in the story applications, story means any any kind of Vikram Betal stories like that. There is a kind of websites I I haven't gone through it, and so that time we will take the parent consent because the child is minor. So then we can't take their consent. Their consent is valid after 18 years. So whether in the discovery phase we will take a gender, and I mean gender is not so much required, but gender and age and the targets locations, these all we will try to see, because there might be different kinds of federal rules. So we should see what kind of federal rules are applicable, and then sign up and onboarding. That's what I will discuss now. And then data collection. So as I said about the federal rules, I mean governance bodies, and then analytics and tracking, personalization. Personalization means um, your choices of applications, which we can take the consents, and then notifications, retention and deletion. That's up to your. This is completely under in your hands. And then third party integrations. As I said, AWS cloud providers or servers. Children products like launches. While create while taking with some 50 members of first active users, then if we are going to test on them, then also we require consent. Without consent we can't make it. So by that I'll keep my product as a safer and handy to use to anybody. So here we are going to discuss about the breach of contract. So after 90 days, I mean the period of putting a body means the governance is of 90 days. If it is if for the company, if it is above 90 days, then the company has to provide reasons to the law judiciary. And if it is failed to, like, if a child is yeah, if the company is unable to maintain the child details as a privacy, then privacy, then they are violated that rules. So the punishment would be 200 crores. And if the if the company is unable to maintain data privacy regulations, so then it is a punishment of 200 crores. And if you want any kind of data within the company has to provide within the 90 days. Remember this. And remember the data, if you cancel, that has to be deleted from the database. They have to show that also. So this is the tracker which we are keeping. So what kind of concerns we have to take and what kind of rules and regulations we have to face. So the data inventory. Earlier I said you are giving all your data, that is called we inventory, and then the consent management while login, log out, and while going while clicking on the payment transactions, and some while sharing the photos and images, upload documents. Then we the application has to pop up a consent forms. Minimization and retention, DPO and governance, breach readiness. Wow. This is also important. If we couldn't expect, like in one case, what happened is um, yeah, coming to the Suno, there some companies has a brute attack. So then the data has been leaked from them. Then it has requested password to change, and that kind of policy has to be amended, and the immediate alert has to be generated. And you also should be very careful while that kind of situation happens and alert comes, then you should change your password immediately. See, children's data, that has to be controlled and kept a secret. Even in healthcare, the children's data has to be securely maintained. And then, whereas nowadays, now a system has come up that in Aadhaar, the age should not be, I mean, year should not be shown. And in foreign regulations, the, for the child data in the healthcare, that only be consented to the mother, and the children, if they are in adulthood, kind of the adolescent, then they are also eligible to give the consent whether they can give the rights to show with their parents or not. That kind of strict legal system is there. By this, we will conclude. As you understood how a system is keeping your data and when to erase your data, and how the things are happening when you are when the information, when you clicked on consent request. Now we are going to see how we track. See, in this DPDP inventory, identify every source, process, and third party, as I discussed about the service servers. Those are third party engines. And consent management, review consent, collection, privacy notes, granular choices, and withdrawal mechanism. If you don't want to continue with the application or services, then you can, there should be easy withdrawal mechanism has to be there, and your user account has to be closed, and the data in the database also it should not be, your data should not show. Data minimization. Collect any necessary data, define purpose and retention period, and delete data when no longer needed. DPO and governance. Assess whether a DPO or the other privacy governance role is required and establish appropriate authority. As I like the company will be having the company has to be appointed the DPO auditing authority and then legal authority to that. So they then only the e-governance system has to be followed. If an breach means if it is failed to maintain your data privacy, then the breach happens. Breach is cancellation of that. Consent management and children's data, as I discussed, privacy by design. Design. There should be an engineering mechanism to strictly follow this process, that is design process. These are the checklist. Data principal requests. We'll go for this. What kind of consent forms are there? So I just want to show this. Don't see all the other things. So yeah, like this we will maintain a consent type, purpose, notice, granted date, withdrawn status. There will be a consent um, consent taking authorities are there with us, and then this is date. This is you, and what kind of um, data you can take it, how the access is there, correction is there, like erasing, like as I said, revoking, cancellation, withdraw, consent, access. So we will maintain like this. And then the data readiness. Move from tick box compliance towards privacy by design. As I said, discussed designing system to maintain a privacy rules, data inventory, consent minimization, retention, governance, identify privacy requirements early, include them in private product discovery and priorities. So when a product manager is maintaining itself in the PRD, then it won't be a panicking situation. It is always a proactive situation that rather than reactive. So we can easily bind the algorithms related to this. Okay. That's why you are becoming an happy user with us, and we are going to get deliver better products, stronger business, sustainable advantage in the market. See, start early, stay prepared, build trust. We are to we are creating the consent from the while taking up the PRD, or else when we are if we are creating our own innovative product also, we are drafting we are creating consent form in the early stages, so that you people are always a happy users with us. Thank you. Jai Hind.